It's hosted by Faculty Club in District 9. I'm Cheryl Roush, past district governor, distinguished Toastmaster, and accredited speaker, and I'm honored to be your launching presenter for this webinar. So thank you for the vision that you have of hosting this webinar series of accredited speakers. So let me explain what the program is. It is the elite program hosted by and honored by Toastmasters International. The accredited speaker program is designed for sought-after professionals who combine their subject matter expertise and a platform presentation mastery. So there needs to be a combination of the two. Honored for professionalism and outstanding achievements in public speaking, 81 members have now earned the accredited speaker designation since the program's inception in 1981. And here are our brand new minted accredited speakers at the August International Convention in Chicago, Illinois. So from left to right, you have Val Du Bois-Ford, Terry Watson, Greg Wood, Tamara Hamilton, Maurice Domino, and Edwin Eddinghauser. And we are so thrilled that they passed the two-level process. And our goal for you is that every candidate can pass. What's interesting, though, is that less than 1% of applicants have received the credential. So in this program, I want to share with you why people don't pass, how you can pass the first time, and other insights that may or may not be in the materials that you've downloaded. So again, I'm Cheryl Roush, and to give you a little bit more of my background and my passion for Toastmasters, I've been active for over 3 decades. And I love this organization. It's my greatest passion and my longest relationship. I earned accredited speaker back in 1993 at the Toronto, Ontario, Canada International Convention. And those of you in leadership, and you will appreciate this, I was on the Hall of Fame stage receiving the Education and Training Award, dashed through the hallways of the International Convention site, which was a massive convention center, over to the accredited speaker amphitheater, where I was then hurried onto the stage because the speaker who was the candidate who was to speak before me had evidently backed out. This is a stressful 2-level process. And since then, because I said no one should go through such stress as being incoming district governor, carrying the ballots and representing the district, and be going for accredited speaker at the same time, the rules have now been changed. So each of us has a number in those 81, and my number is number 28. I was also the youngest and only the 6th female ever to have earned the designation. And I proudly served District 5, home of Helen Blanchard. I was only the 3rd district governor to follow in her high heels. So there was Helen Blanchard, the First Lady of Toastmasters International President, and then one more female district governor, then 10 years, and then I was elected to the position. I'm honored to have been the 2009 one of the Presidential Citation Awardees, and you might know me as the author of The Heart of a Toastmaster back in 2014, which went on to receive the Best Anthology awarded from the International Book Awards. And I submitted it for the contest to give our organization and our members the global exposure, and it certainly has. I've also been a professional member of the National Speakers Association since 1990 and member of the year of both Southern California chapters, San Diego and Los Angeles area chapters. So I'm thrilled to be both a proud member of Toastmasters and to have earned this elite designation. So let me share with you a couple of logistics. And again, Kathy is going to be monitoring the chat box. Any of these will be answered at the end of the formal presentation. And if you're just joining onto the call in the live, if you would, please click mute on your computer down at the bottom of the screen. So this webinar, and Kathy Hansen, thank you very much for the invitation to be of service to Faculty Club and all of District 9 and those other clubs that have been invited to this webinar and all those who are going to be watching the archive going forward. This presentation is a loaded, fast-paced insight into how to earn the accredited speaker designation. Also in the email, then you did receive a link, the downloads for today. If you're watching on the archive, make sure to click on that download and go and get the handouts too. I think it's going to be very helpful for you. There are 2 official websites that support the Accredited Speaker Program. One is Toastmasters.org, and if you were to use the search parameter in the upper right-hand corner of the box for Toastmasters.org and put in accredited speaker, it will pull up the entire resource section for you. The second website is also approved by World Headquarters that we as accredited speakers cover the expenses of the website, and it is accreditedspeakers.com. And I'll come back to that a little bit later, especially for complimentary mentoring for anyone who is pursuing the designation. So in this webinar session, you will discover what are the program rules. You'll actually see the judge's ballot and criteria, as well as insights and suggestions, and what type of mentoring and support is available for you. As you go on to Toastmasters.org, and you'll see the website posted at the bottom of this slide, then there is the exact link of where to download and keep current on any of the materials or updates on the Accredited Speaker Program. Those of us who have earned the designation are ambassadors to Toastmasters International. We are considered the professional voice of Toastmasters, and we are often called for media interviews and speaking opportunities where we can represent the goodwill of the organization. We are professional speakers who make at least most of our living by professional presenting, and we are available to be out there and the goodwill. We also, you'll see us at your district conferences, and we love being invited to any of your leadership institutes and webinars such as this. We know that we are ambassadors for the organization, and it's our honor and our privilege to be of service and support to you. So thank you for your invitations. Also on that website, as you scroll down just a little bit, then you'll see accredited speaker resources. Each of these blue titles are live hyperlinks that then take you to downloadable resources. Back in 2013, we created our own accredited speaker code of conduct and ethics. It was approved by the board of directors. You'll also see the list of accredited speakers, all of those back to 1981. You'll see the accredited speaker recommendation form, of which you need to have 5 from paid engagements. Submit those directly from the meeting planner to World Headquarters. You never see it, and it's meant to be confidential. As a professional aside, and I know that I'm presenting on October 27th, another special webinar, what are the 10 must-haves to be in the speaking business today. Recommendations or letters of recommendations you need to have from every single presentation that you're giving. So those are linked to World Headquarters, and they create an electronic folder for you in your name. And this is a 3-year process. Currently, it may be shortened to 2 years, by the way, so you want to start your process if you haven't already. The Accredited Speaker Judges Guide, you'll see that also in the slides. You can download that. It was posted just as of last year to be public, and I'm a strong advocate for this program. And since we have all other judging forms posted, I said, hey, let's not keep this a mystery. We need to have it up there. So I kind of have the ear of World Headquarters and how to make this understandable for any person who is pursuing it. Those pursuing the accreditation are referred to as candidates, by the way. So you are an AS candidate. If you ask any of us for mentoring, our answer is always yes. So then you become an AS mentee. You like that? Yeah, there you go. The rules are also posted as a PDF. And again, if there are going to be any updates to these, this is where you want to be looking. The same thing with the speaker application, and it needs to be filled out between January 1 and February 1. Those are critical deadlines. I would suggest making sure that your application, with everything else that is required, including the nominal admin fee and the video link to a live presentation that you have presented to a paying audience, that you get that in before January 10th. Just in case there's anything, or maybe one of those recommendation forms wasn't yet received by World Headquarters, you would still have time to go and chase that down. And there are many reasons why the applications are not eligible or they're not passed on for the judging. They become disqualified at the submission stage because they're missing maybe a recommendation form. Boy, if you've been working so hard on earning this, don't let it become disqualified because of paperwork. And then what are the next steps? So World Headquarters has also provided for us what are the next steps. And there are 6 basic steps. And I'll be adding to that too. So let's jump in with the program rules. So whether you have the download or not, you'll be able to follow along. And I'll point out a couple of highlights in this. Who is eligible? Now, again, this is on the classic education and accomplishment system. It is not yet into the Pathways program. It will be soon. So we're waiting from World Headquarters to hear what those particular pathways may be. I'm anticipating that it'll be presentation mastery, just to give you an idea, but there's nothing in the eligibility currently. You must be Toastmaster in good standing, earned one of these educational awards. So Able Toastmaster, Advanced Toastmaster Bronze, Advanced Communicator Bronze, if it's at ACG. Notice it does not say DTM. That's true. You do not need to have earned, this is a big myth, by the way, you do not need to have earned Distinguished Toastmaster in order to apply. This is a speaking designation, and Distinguished Toastmaster is considered for leadership. So that's one of the big myths. Here's a big one that many people get stopped on, that they've given a minimum of 25 speaking engagements to non-Toastmaster audiences, and again, within the past 3 years. So if you are applying in January of 2019, it can go back to 2016. Is that correct? 3 years, 2016. Now, of those 25, 15 must be paid. Let's take a closer look at some of these. So for instance, of the 25 that you give to non-Toastmaster audiences, 15 must be paid, as in professional speaking fees to be paid. We'll come back to that and really break that down as to what it means. This is a 2-level process. So level 1, again, after the applications have been received, they are reviewed for completeness, including that video submission and the letters of recommendation. And you can utilize any of us who have earned the accredited speaker designation to preview your video, to preview your application. Utilize us. We'll be able to see if there's something on the application that isn't right or where you might need to add. One of the things that I can share with you that I don't think I have in the slides here is that on the application, we are looking for professional entries, professional information. And one of the candidates I went back to that I previewed their application, it was all Toastmaster accomplishments, about different contests. No, do not include anything Toastmaster-ish in anything of this process. This is professional designation, a credential for that. So don't include any of that. Don't include your leadership, educational accomplishments. As long as you qualify based on the educational level, then yes, proceed, but don't put any additional things onto the application. The judges are looking for, what are you doing to get paid in the real world for what it is that you do? So level 1 is then judged, and there's a panel of 5 judges which are selected by World Headquarters based on their qualifications. They may include accredited speakers, professional speakers. Typically right now at level 1 it's accredited speakers. And we are looking for people to pass. We're not looking to keep this as an elite exclusive club. No, we want every person who goes for this to pass, and what it will do for your business, for your self-esteem, and probably raising your professional speaking fees. It's incredible what it will do for you. And we have several success stories recently, including Joe Grondin out of Canada, that his business has now doubled since earning the accredited speaker designation. After level 1, and both level 1 and level 2 are a pass or fail. It's as cut and dry as that. The majority of the judges need to pass you, and that would be 3 out of the 5. Then you go on to level 2. So level 1 is judged on what's on the application, especially the paid engagements, and judges look at the fee. Because if you're charging 3 figures for a presentation, that's not considered professional. It's something that has a comma with the $sign, that's considered professional fees. So if you're not yet there, attend the October 27th webinar that I'm doing for you, and you'll get some better ideas on that. Then maybe you need to raise your fees. So there you go with that. Level 2, then, after you have passed level 1 with 3 out of the 5 judges saying, yes, they're professional, move on to the next level. Level 2, you pay your own way to the international convention. And then you give a live presentation again before 5 judges and a chief judge that are anonymous and seated in the audience. At that level, the judges may be, in addition to accredited speakers, they may be professional speakers or those Toastmasters who do get paid for presentations and could be eligible for this program. That might include past international directors, past international presidents, and world champions, to give you some ideas. So again, that's at the and that's usually on the world stage, by the way, or a very large stage, and it's live streamed. So if you want to see any of the past at least 3 years, go to Toastmasters On Demand, and you can watch any of the presentations that have been given. So at level 2, again, live audience, again, 3 of the 5 must give you a pass, a thumbs up. There's no debate on it. And just like contests, the judging is final. It's announced then before the world champion is announced on the world championship stage. So let me point out a couple of things on the how to apply area. Here's a couple of things to note, because if you're not giving longer presentations yet, this is one of your goals. Presentations must be a minimum of 20 minutes in length. 15 of the 25 must be paid well. I'll come back to more on that because there's questions of honorariums and expenses and back of the room sales. I'll come back to that. And a minimum of 20 people in the attendance at each speaking engagement. The judges count. That's their job. In the video presentation, it's important that it be unedited, for one thing, and that the audience is viewed. So the videographer needs to get what the size of the audience is, and the focus needs to be on you. It cannot be edited video, though, but you can have the videographer pan back to get the size of the room. It could be a training, by the way, that you're doing, and that you capture the first, because the presentation must be between 20 and 45 minutes that you submit on level 1 on the application. Do not pass 45 minutes. It's a hard stop. Otherwise, your application will be disqualified. It doesn't include, though, your introduction, your formal speaker introduction given by the meeting planner, which I suggest be 1 minute or less as it is read out loud. It may be a video introduction of you that you are coming up onto the stage. That it's not included in your 45 minutes, but that is a hard stop. And if I were you, I would shoot for 40 minutes. Don't give that any grace to be disqualified. This is a critical point too. It must be in English. Now, it doesn't say this in the rules, but this is a common question that I'm asked, is most of the speakers' presentations are done in a different language. That's fine. Of the 25, they can be given in whatever native language it is for that particular speaker. However, level 1, that video, and level 2 must be presented in English, period. Here's the kicker. It must be a non-Toastmasters audience. If the judges recognize Toastmasters in the audience, your video and application could be disqualified. They're looking for professional audiences. What do you do that you get paid well to do? So keep it clean, follow the rules. Somebody asked me, well, what's the secret to passing? Follow these rules. And if you're not sure, ask any of the mentors. I'm happy to address any of these questions, and I do all year long, by the way. So 5 recommendations from 5 different clients for paid engagements, which means those 5 better be on your application, and it better show that you're being paid well. And it has to be the official AS program recommendation form. Again, your meeting planner fills this in online, and it is submitted directly to World Headquarters. You will never see it, and don't ask. don't ask. And then there's some small administrative fees down here as well. And let's see, so why is the designation important? So you might be thinking, well, is this really worth going for? If you ask any of us, whether we've passed the first time or haven't passed the first time, it's the journey. This is definitely going to up-level your entire business, your speaking decorum, how you look at speaking, and here's a few additional things of why you would want the designation. It does validate your professionalism and your expertise. It enhances your credibility. When it is read out loud that you were, in my particular case, one of 81 accredited speakers designated globally out of over 4.4 million members in 142 countries that have been members of Toastmasters International since 1924, that gets a lot of attention. And people say, oh, I bet this person has something valuable to say. It looks great in all your marketing materials. For me, it gave me self-confidence that yes, I was good enough to be pro. I was already speaking professionally, and it confirmed it for me. It's my most proud designation. So the accredited speaker and the presidential citation, which I didn't know I was going to receive, I'm honored by both of those out of all my accomplishments in my entire life. You want to take it seriously, though. It's not an easy process, and take every step of this very seriously. The accredited speaker also differentiates you from others in the speaking training industry, and it may, if you are a professor or a lecturer or a minister, it also differentiates you there. We now have 2 ministers who are accredited speakers, and our very first magician. Yeah, we have a magician. All right, so, and it translates the skills into practical application. All right, so why then do people disqualify? Well, at the application stage, it could be an incomplete application. It's missing information. The program rules are not followed, or the video is too long. There was, 3 years ago, a candidate submitted a video that was 60 minutes long and was immediately disqualified. And I was contacted by this person, and I said, follow the rules. Follow the rules. The next year, he made sure that his video was in that 45-minute range, and you know him as world champion, Darren LaCroix. Follow the rules. There's no exceptions for anyone. TI is very clear about the rules and regulations. So here's some insights that I can share that are not in writing, not as of yet, but this is how it's judged. Do webinars, teleseminars, online programs, Facebook Live, Zoom, Skype count toward the 25? No. Only live presentations count. Here's some history on this. Back when the award, the credential was created in 1981, the speakers who were considered for this designation were all keynote platform presenters. So even my plaque says outstanding platform presentation skills. It's evolved over the years to include presenters, professors, lecturers, music teachers, others who present presentations. However, they must still be live. And I know there's some debate. Well, you're live right now. Yes. TI's definition is live in the room with you, where there's an energy exchange that you can see eyeball to eyeball in the same room. So that's not going to be changed anytime soon. Not that I've heard. It is a consideration, but I don't think it's going to be changed soon. Some of these, to change them, must be approved by the board of directors at World Headquarters. What types of live presentations are then considered? These are from my own list: keynotes or plenary sessions, also known as general sessions, say at conferences, breakout or concurrent sessions, those terms are used interchangeably, public seminars and workshops. So the question here is, how do you put that fee onto your application? What's the cost of the door? So it could be, what's the admission price, and whatever that admission fee is, that's what you can put onto the application. So I hope that that helps there. Workshops, the same thing. Retreat facilitation, that can also count. And if you give more than one presentation at the same event, those could be 2 different line items, but the fees need to be separated. You need to calculate how much for the keynote, how much for a breakout session. Does reimbursement for travel, other expenses or sales from products or services count toward fees posted? No. A fee is a fee. If your meeting planner could give you a check that has your name on it for your speaking fee, and there may come a time, by the way, where you need to show this documentation. It may, it currently isn't, but there might be. Then what would that fee be? It cannot include any backroom sales, any consulting, any sales, anything else. No. It can also not be your travel expenses or your Uber fee or whatever that it might be. No, it needs to be professional speaking, training, professional presentation fees, period. Let's talk about the video presentation then. Whew, wow. Again, 20 to 45 minutes, shoot for 40 minutes. Do not have that be extended at all. Recorded before a live non-Toastmaster audience and in English. On the application, it does offer you each of these. When you post your video link into the application, ideally it would be great if it's a YouTube link. And if it's a private link, it doesn't have to be private, but here's some tips on that of what else you can do. Critical point here, not edited. It must be the entire presentation from the get-go of the meeting planner introducing you all the way to your conclusion, to thanking them, shaking their hand, or pausing for applause. It must be whole and complete. Anything edited or incomplete will not be accepted. Here's the thing too, that say for instance that you're doing a training program, if your training involved visual aids such as slides, handouts, or props, a facsimile of that visual aid, let's say if you were submitting for today using this webinar as a live presentation, if you had slides, you could save the slides as a handout view, or the entire slide deck saved as a PDF is going to be even better than the handout kind of thing. If there's a handout, again, the judges want to experience what it is that you do in the most professional light. Submit the handout, submit the slides. As you submit it to World Headquarters, all of those files go into your folder at World Headquarters where the staff does create these files for Accredited Speaker Program. Dr. Dillop, one of our two ministers now, who is accredited speaker, he's also a past international president, an absolute delight. And he's the one that I learned it from, that everything that you do toward accredited speaker is a journey, and it really is. So he offers these tips regarding video recording, and a few of the reasons that the applications are rejected: poor quality. So what this means here is that when you're giving a presentation, as you would professionally, you need to be mic'd on your body that goes directly into the video recording system. You might, when you're presenting, wear a second microphone that feeds into the house system inside the conference room. That's okay. It could be the same mic that goes to both places, but you have got to be professionally audio recorded on this. Oh, let's see. Lack of clear organization or the transitions, lack of a clear central idea to the presentation, any editing, any of those. So those are great tips by Dr. Dillop. Let's take a closer look then at the judging criteria and the judge's guide. Again, these are now posted online, and also in the handout that I provided, I did provide a few pages back the official criteria for the judging. So if you didn't get a copy of that, download it from the website that has been provided by Faculty Club. Here's an overview of the judging standards. That candidates are evaluated using this ballot, and that your subject should not be targeted for a Toastmaster audience. Either level. Again, what do you do professionally? Do not tweak it for Toastmasters. The judges are looking for, what do you do? And this is right off of the judge briefing agenda from 2016. I photoed that and put it up here. The style should be appropriate for the type of audience for which the presentation is intended. The note on that is that at level 2, when you are asked to submit your speaker introduction, indicate who is that ideal audience. The judges hear that, they pick it up, get a copy of your speaker introduction so that they can be judging based on who's your audience and how is this message relevant to them. Again, not Toastmaster-ish. This document is posted online. This is the judging criteria. And I'm going to pull open this area here, the instructions to the judge. The accreditation is to be undertaken with the sole purpose of determining the skill and expertise of the speaker as a professional presenter. TI considers the professional speaker as one who applies his or her communication skills toward the various purposes of speaking. And it may be any or all of these: informing, motivating, inspiring, entertaining, and leading seminars and discussion groups. When I qualified for this back in 1993, my application actually had boxes where you had to determine the date, who is the audience, what was the title of the presentation, how long was the presentation, how much were you paid, and which type of these presentations would it be considered. And we needed to at that time, had something in each of these categories on our application, or it was disqualified, because we needed to show how well-rounded that we were. Level 1 and level 2, there's 3 categories to consider. This is on the judge's ballot and the guide: content, delivery, and language. Much like we would for the World Championship for any of our speech contests. The big difference here is it's not a 5 to 7 minute. It will be a longer presentation. At level 1, you saw that it's 20 to 45 minutes. At level 2, based on the time TI has the ballroom space for, divided by how many candidates qualify to deliver at level 2, that time is divided amongst the candidates equally with a 2-minute critical silence time for the judges to mark their ballots. Again, this is not a contest. This is a credential that can make or break a person's business and industry. Again, this document is also posted online, the Accredited Speaker Judges Ballot and Guide, and you will see those 3 areas of the content, delivery, and language. And you might think, oh, this doesn't tally. You're right, because it's continued on the next page. It is a 2-page ballot form with area for the judge to make comments to themselves. Those do not typically go to the candidate. I'll show you something that does. And notice this area: pass or fail. The point system is given as guidelines, but when it comes down to it, the judge may pass or fail based on other criteria. It's a guideline. It's a guideline. So let me show you a couple more things. What are common reasons candidates don't pass? Lack of structure, organization, no audience engagement. Maybe in their delivery, there's no energy, or the visual aids not being visible, or poor audio or video, especially at level 1. But some of these, the first 3, definitely relate to level 2 as well. At level 1 judging, again, 3 of 5 must pass. Decisions are final. Feedback is provided to those not passing with options for another attempt. On the application, it indicates that you can go for the AS 3 times without needing to start the process all over again. So you're thinking, really? Yes, and there are many candidates that have not passed the first time, not passed the second time, but did pass the third time. The record that I know of, this before this was put into process, is 7 attempts, by the way. So that happened the year that I was going for it. And by the way, at that time, we had regional conferences, and Dana Lamont, world champion, accredited speaker, received his accredited speaker at a regional conference, but it needed to be given at a regional conference outside of your own. Now we bypass that and have it only at the international convention. We also had an audio judging at that time where it was audio cassettes, if you remember those. Yeah, and then mine was an audio cassette, no visuals at all. And then the second evolution of that was CD, so audio CDs. And now, thank goodness, we have the video where we can really be comprehensive and be fair in the judging. At the level 2, 2 minutes of silence. And if you were there at the international convention, you saw how the seated international director moderated the room and made sure that there was quiet so the judges could hear. Same thing, 3 to 5. At level 2, there is a chief judge who is a non-voting member of this process, and 5 judges who do have votes. Feedback is provided to those not passing. Here is the judge's feedback form. This year, the chief judge asked if I would complete one of these for each of the candidates. So I no longer judge the process. I would rather be of service as a mentor and offer feedback at any stage of this to help you pass. So I leave that to the judges to judge. The judge's feedback form, so I completed one of these for each of the 9 candidates. And this year, there were 26 applications. 2 were immediately disqualified at the submission stage for incomplete applications. Of those 24 that went on to 2 different judging teams of 5 judges each of those 10 judges were accredited speakers, and each of them completed one of these for each of the candidates, especially if they did not pass. What we know in Toastmasters is that feedback is a breakfast of champions, and we need to give each other feedback. And what did they do well? It's a 2-page document, by the way. Overall, what could be improved? Here's the bottom line question. Would you hire this speaker? Why or why not? The second page of this, would you refer this speaker? We as accredited speakers are looking for colleagues. We want to be on a program speaking with you. We want to refer you for business. We'd love to be referred by you for paid business. We're looking for colleagues. We want you to pass. And then what additional feedback would you like to share? Email me if you would like a copy of this judge's feedback form. Otherwise, go back through this webinar and click a screenshot of it. Be happy to send it to you. It's not currently posted. I don't know if it needs to be, but those are the bottom line questions is, would we hire you? Would we want to be in an audience and listening to you that maybe we paid admission for? At level 2, the same reasons why people didn't pass at level 1. And I've added this one here, lack of overall professionalism. You know it when you see it. It may not need to be outlined. Maybe the attire for the stage was not appropriate. Maybe the demeanor toward the audience was not a professional caliber. There are several things that could click into that at level 2. So if you're practicing, and let's say, for instance, at your club and you're giving longer presentations, let's say 20 minutes of the advanced manual or into the pathway program, use the accredited speaker judge's ballot form. Make sure that every person in your audience has a copy of the ballot. And bottom line, it's great practice for one thing. And if you can collect those afterward, whether they sign them or not, what you're looking for is, would they pass or fail you? What your club members need to keep in mind is that this isn't an advanced manual speech. This is a professional presentation. So they need to think, would I pay you? Would I recommend you? Would I hire you for an engagement? Use the AS feedback form and have others preview your videos. In your club, just like you're doing on this webinar, and the speaker who will follow this presentation is have it videotaped. Get feedback. What about outside engagements then? Here's a couple of tips. Have every presentation professionally videotaped, as it may be a potential submission. You never know. And I don't know how it is that the best presentations that we give, doggone it, we didn't have it videotaped. So you want to have every presentation videotaped. If you do a multi-camera shoot, so if there is a camera straight on and there's a camera at an angle, you may only submit footage from one of those cameras. It cannot be both. It cannot be edited together. That's immediate grounds for disqualification. Even though you could use that footage in your professional website to promote you, have each client for paid engagements complete the online letter of recommendation on your behalf. Why not? TI can have too many. It's okay, but those are for paid engagements then. Here are some strong considerations that are to overview what we're talking about here. Number 1, would you hire this speaker? Number 2, would you refer this speaker for a paid engagement? The answers need to be yes. Would you pay admission to be in that audience? Again, it needs to be a clear yes in your mind. Would you consider this speaker to be a professional colleague? Needs to be a yes to each of these 4 questions. That's the bottom line. So here's a few additional insights and suggestions from Karen Twitchell, who did not pass the first time. What she did is, in between the first and the second qualifying rounds, she hired coaches to work with her, speaking coaches, non-Toastmasters. She reached out to accredited speaker mentors to see what else that she could do. There it is, hire a speaking coach. Always, always, always. And then practice every day, take advantage of every time for stage time. I know Darren would greatly appreciate that. And she also found to speak on your topic. We've seen this a few times now, that the speakers have chosen to speak on something because they think that it's what the judges are looking for, or that it would be good for the Toastmaster audience at the International Convention, or that it would be great footage of that particular topic for their website. No, do what it is that you do, that you get paid to do, and the judges will judge accordingly. So first time, in your handout, I have attached for you, I put together an achievement chart so that you could track your progress along the way, and I put them into, things need to make sense to me, so I put them in logical order. So all of these are right up there, in line, in line, in line, and this was updated just in February of this year. The second form that I've included for you in the handout is a speaking engagement tracking form, which is, it models what the application form is. When I first started speaking, especially outside of Toastmasters, I kept a, what did we call them? Like an accountant's auditing journal, a bookkeeping type of journal. And I used that, and I did track every single client. That's how I know I've presented over 3,500 presentations. I know because I tracked them. A very big journal, and I still have it. I still have it. But this will help you with a letter of recommendation, how long that you spoke. If it's not 20 minutes in here, then you need to be speaking longer. What was the fee received? And again, we want a comma in there with the $sign. And what was the audience size of it? So this will help you, again, to be mindful of what's going to count toward your application. It'll help you get started. Who is available to help you? We are, and we'd love to be asked to mentor you and to be an advisor for you. If you were to go to accreditedspeakers.com, which is sanctioned by World Headquarters, even though we on this list handle the admin fees to keep the site active and everything, and it's updated as well, then contact us. And if you would, in the subject line when you email us, please put something similar to mentoring for accredited speaker or accredited speaker mentoring. We respond to those fast because we know what you're seeking our mentoring, seeking our advice. And you can choose from any of these. Bob Huey, who is the admin for the site, and his wife Irene do a fabulous job on this site. We're getting ready to update this with our new 6. So, yay! All right, so utilizing the mentoring, here's a couple of ways that we suggest it. Prior to submitting your application, let us preview your application. Again, we will note if there's things that don't seem professional in nature. We'd be happy to offer suggestions for editing the text on that, or the phraseology, or taking a look at making sure that you haven't double dipped, where you use the same engagement and the same speaking fee for 2 listings. They have to be separated out. That could be a disqualification in the process. Let us preview your video. This happened this year that one of the accredited speaker candidates asked me to preview his video, which gladly. And the video, as I was watching it, I was appalled that the videographer shot from behind the speaker, and it was showing the back of the speaker's head and the audience the entire time. Now, that may be really good for video on his website, showing audience participation, but not what the judges are looking for. It needs to be on you all the time. It may be the backs of the heads of the people sitting in the audience instead, but the judges are looking for you, your body movement, your content, your delivery, your language, your authenticity, your energy exchange. Let us take a look at your video. As I suggested to this particular candidate, and I expressed my concerns regarding it, that he would not have passed with that particular video, please, please, please do another presentation and have it video. As it happened, within the next week, he had another engagement. The videographer was given very clear instructions. He was mic'd properly. And that video, again, he had me preview that. Yes, that's the way to do it. And that candidate passed this year in Chicago. What happens after passing level 1 then? How you can utilize us as mentors? We will be happy to explain the next steps for level 2, how to help you prepare. And it's even in the past, I remember helping Rochelle Rice, that she called me one day and she said, I'm getting ready for my level 2. What do you suggest that I know that's not in the rules? And I said, well, this year the stage is going to be 8 feet high. It is a very large ballroom that you're presenting on. I suggest for you, you be mindful of what you wear and how short that it might be. Oh, good point. So as it was, the dress was 1 inch above the knee, and it was appropriate. She was professional. She passed the very first time. She's one of the speakers coming up for you in your faculty club new webinar series. So Rochelle Rice, and she is fantastic. She's the jazz of the Sparkle and Jazz team. Also, after passing level 1, we're happy to discuss your potential topics. An example of this, Barbara Kazam, who is the accredited speaker who earned her designation in Kuala Lumpur. So people say, oh, how come it's just, the speakers in North America are the only ones that pass? Not true. Gerald Green, who was from Malaysia, he just passed this past year, that he was one of the first outside of North America candidates to pass. Claire Crowther just passed a couple of years ago, and she's out of the UK. Potential topics, so when I was mentoring Barbara Kazam for this, and all the way up to she was in Kuala Lumpur getting ready for her presentation the next day, then she said, I really want to change my topic. I said, you've got to be passionate about it. And we discussed it. She changed her topic to what she does. Well, one of her two. Either one would have been great. I think she would have passed with either one, but she really was thinking, I want to do that topic. Then do that topic. So she changed her topic the night before. All she needed to do was let the international director who was moderating the presentation change the title. And she did pass, and that was in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. What happens after passing level 2? There's abundant opportunities for you, from speaking engagements at district conferences, on webinars such as today's, media interviews. Oh, let's see. There's other things that we would also advise you for. And what's next? What's your expectations? Also, the code of conduct. Then we're available to discuss that, and any other opportunities that come up. So a lot of opportunities for utilizing and mentoring. Please join the social media conversations then, because with accredited speakers, then we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on Twitter. Join the conversations on this, and there's, let's see, I counted 32 to 35 very active accredited speakers who have earned the designation that are also on any of our social media, that you can ask any of us questions. You can tag us on there. So please follow the conversations. I also post in, especially the Facebook and the LinkedIn groups, any deadlines coming up, any change of forms, any updates, any links, any opportunities. So I'm the one that runs all of the social media, and love to have you in the conversation. We are here to be of service and support for you. One of the opportunities, and watch for it in the upcoming Toastmaster magazine, is that this is a great 4-page feature by Maureen Zapala, quoting several of the accredited speakers in this article. And last year, featuring the 6 who did pass, and in the middle, there is Joe Grondin, who I mentioned before, and Donnie Crandall, who's also going to be on your faculty webinars coming up. He's the second minister. I believe you're also having Freddie and those 2, I believe, at least, coming up in your webinar series. So again, watch for us in the magazines. You saw 2 of our accredited speaker colleagues on the big stage as educational general sessions at the Chicago Convention. Eldana Lewis Fernandez is also one of the speakers coming up in your webinar series, and Johnny Campbell, the transition man. Both of them rock the stage. You got to see their style, them doing what they do for pay. And as colleagues, we're absolutely shocked and pleased and thrilled and applaud our colleagues in what they do and the different opportunities that we get. So there's a lot to do with this. Oh, let's see, I put this in back in 2015. I received permission from Dan Rex at World Headquarters and the trademark and legal departments to use the accredited speaker logo because it is trademarked and there are certain things it cannot be used for. And I asked for permission to host an all-day event the day before the convention in Las Vegas. TI did not have the staff to be of support for this, but they gave blessings on it. There were 14 accredited speakers. We all paid our own way to Las Vegas at Caesar's Palace. I put up my own $20,000 to host this event, knowing that I might make a loss on it, and I did. It was a projected loss, but not $20,000, by the way. But this is how committed that I am to this program, and that permission was given that I create a thumb drive that is loaded with all of the presentations. So there's 2 MP3 files on this thumb drive and all of the handouts from each of the speakers and all of their marketing materials. And Bob Huey has one of his ebooks on here, and I do keep it up to date for 2018. So if you're interested, I created a short link for it for the accredited speaker USB, and you can order it online for only $20 if you want more of that. So I put that up there because it is loaded. And if you want to hear the journeys of 14 of us, no one was compensated for this, we all paid our own way, then that's where it's been archived. So in addition to the webinars that we're presenting for anyone who asks, then this is also loaded and it's kept up to date. So if you're interested in that. In this session, we're getting ready to open it up for Q&A, and we are ahead of time for those of you watching the clock. Here's what we looked at: the program rules, as well as the judge's guide, the ballot, the criteria, the feedback form. And I offered my own personal insights. Again, I've been an accredited speaker for 25 years, so I've watched the evolution. I'm in constant contact with World Headquarters and the staff at World Headquarters regarding the changes and suggestions to continue to evolve the program, as well as, now the abundant mentoring and support that you have. The red carpet is rolled out for you. And we are looking for colleagues. We're looking for you. And if you are eligible to apply for this program, I sure hope that you say yes and that you take it seriously. And please reach out for mentoring sooner instead of later. We are here to be of support for you. So with that, then let's go ahead and, here's my email. So if you want to reach out to me, it's Cheryl@SherylRoush.com. And Kathy, I'm getting ready to send the stop share. So feel free to keep recording as we answer the questions and open up the chat box. And I hope that this has been a valuable session for you. It's the best of the things that I can share with you right away on how to pass the first time. And again, reach out to any of us. It's our honor to serve and to support you. So let's go back to, all right, and let's see, I think that, are we muted, or go ahead? And let's see, stop share.
Thank you so much, Cheryl.
You're welcome. Thank you. Hi, everyone.
That was amazing. That was just incredible. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for asking. And I love what you're doing with the whole series. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the first question is actually my question. Is there a definition of platform speaker?
Yes, in the olden days, it's keynote speaker. So keynote would have been like Zig Ziglar.
Okay. Good.
That's a good, well, there's if you were to put motivational speaker or platform speaker in a dictionary, it'd probably be Zig Ziglar's photo. So put it put it that way. So that's what it was, and now we've evolved it to be professional presenter, which may show up in a lot of different ways. Could be a speaker, could be a trainer, could be a professor.
Okay. Next question, I think you answered. Mary asked, what will be the criteria under pathways? And you said that you weren't sure of that. But
it's forthcoming. I have posed it to World Headquarters, and it's on their list post-convention. So there's still a lot, especially going on with the move from California to Colorado. So there's still a lot going on. I've been asking, and we'll see. I'm guessing presentation mastery would be part of it. I don't know.
Okay.
Watch for updates, though, on the TI site in the accredited speaker area.
Yeah. Deborah wants to know, regarding video entries, if music is not part of your presentation, then it should not be included, i.e. edited into the submitted video for effect.
Absolutely not. Anytime you use the word editing, nope. And there's also, it's tricky because if you're using any music, have you paid the royalties to use it? Because otherwise you can be sued. However, there's an exception to that, and that was this year. If you go back into the Toastmasters on Demand and you watch our music teacher, Yelena, she played her own music, Chopin, as she was walking up onto the stage. That was acceptable. It's her music. She has copyright, she has permission to be using it. And it was only because she's teaching skills about performance anxiety specifically related to being a music teacher. It was magnificent. I'm thinking, oh my gosh. She walked her talk. We got a good dose of, and that was her own music.
Yep.
Still not in any edited videos. Great question.
Okay, and then I think I know how you're going to answer this one, but Deborah also wanted to know the two that didn't make it in Chicago. Can you share why they didn't make it?
Yes, thank you. And there were 3 who did not make it in Chicago. There were 3. 2 of the 3 have already committed to going forward again in Denver. They committed as soon as they found out what the results were. They have self-diagnosed why they did not. So as an example, Yelena, as an example, is from Moscow, Russia. She's been living in Seattle, Washington for 22 years. Her accent is still very thick. Every single one of the judges wrote on their feedback forms that they couldn't understand. As I'm mentoring her along the way, I have suggested an accent reduction coach. She is taking that seriously because she realizes if this is happening at this level, it may be happening in other areas of her life. And she also realized that when she gets really impassioned and she's talking, blah, 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 then the accent becomes thicker, which I find to be common with most English as second language as well. She's very gracious. She's working on it, and she's going forward again. The second speaker, Greg Van Borsum, very talented platform presenter. He's absolutely brilliant. He's going forward again, and he had something happen in his personal life that he was not going to speak on the topic he gets paid to speak on, and he'll be okay with me telling you. He speaks on suicide, and he shares his own story, and why he changed while he was in Chicago is because one of his chums in Australia had just committed suicide the day before he got on the plane.
Oh, wow.
He was too raw to give the topic that he normally would speak about. And as soon he hopped on the plane the next morning to get back to Australia to bury a Toastmaster friend who had also committed suicide.
Yeah.
So that being understood, he already knows next year he is speaking on that topic, and he realizes that there's such a need for it. I believe both of those can pass. The third speaker is still doing some self-evaluation to see why she didn't pass. And I think it came down to not doing what she does. And I can tell you that in the year prior, Tamara Hamilton, so if you were there last year, this year, last year she gave a storytelling that would be considered an after-dinner presentation, but the judges had trouble with the structure. Well, what's the point we're supposed to learn? This year, she came back, she spoke on diversity and inclusion, which is what she gets paid to do. She was brilliant, she passed. So those who are taking the mentoring, she was fantastic. And now with that confidence, because again, it's a vote of confidence when you earn this designation and it looks really good in all of your marketing materials, she's getting more gigs, including at the White House. Hello.
Awesome.
These are great questions. What else?
Okay. Just a confirmation that Deborah wanted confirmation that none of the 25 submissions could be from Toastmasters.
None.
None. Okay.
And they must be non-Toastmaster audiences.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, and then more of a comment from Jennifer. She's concerned about that speaking fee with a comma in it because she feels like she's not commanding anything like that right now. So I suggested that maybe you'll cover some of that, how to get speaking engagements in your October presentation.
Be happy to, Jennifer. So noted. Because there are 10 things that we must have in order to be considered professional, including those fees. So what I'll do then is I'll add to this for you is how to transition from Toastmasters to paid. Okay?
Excellent. That's perfect.
Thank you. And
you're welcome. Mary asks, how close to application do we need to be to request a mentor?
You could ask now, even if you're considering it and haven't even looked at it. Well, here's what we request. Download all of the materials first before you reach out to any of us to ask for questions, because we're going to send you right back to the application. Have you read everything? I would also suggest that you use the tracking form that's in the handout, or actually start filling in the application form to see how close are you. What do you need to do? Then reach out to us. And it might even be, and there's differences between mentoring for accredited speaker, which is complimentary, and coaching in the business, which many of us charge for, to give you an idea. And I know if you ask me and it kind of goes over to the professional coaching, I'll let you know what that is. And my coaching fee is half price for any active Toastmaster because I believe in this program. So we'll let you know. Let's see, I would say get a mentor now. Download all of the materials, read everything, and then ask us. Ask us. And you can have more than one mentor because you may resonate with someone for certain questions and you may resonate with somebody else. You're having Rochelle Rice coming up in one of your webinars. She is an expert in body and movement, and she's a professional dancer. I mean, she's absolutely fantastic. So it could be that you ask her to review your video to make sure that your gestures are congruent. Dr. Dillip is an expert, I think, in content, and so is Dana Lamont. Reach out, and ask specifics. And get 3 or 4 different mentors and ask us specifically for something. Yeah, what would you like us to focus on for you?
All right. And our final question from Ed is, can you use the same speech for more than one of your 25 speeches?
The answer is yes. And there's going to be a second answer onto this too. So yes, you may. Make sure that they are different audiences because the judges are looking for variation. So yes, you can, but maybe only 2 or 3. Maybe only 2 or 3 to break that up. So then the question I'm anticipating is, can you use the same presentation for level 1 and level 2? Nod your head if you're wondering that. Because the answer is yes, you can. And Connor Cuneen did it. What I have noticed is that Many speakers do different topics, but it's, again, what's your best? Bring your best. The biggest tip I can share with you is be who you be. Do what you do. Pardon my grammar. Who's ever grammarian? Sorry. but you get my point. You get my point. Yeah. So Kathy, we still have some time if you want to open it up for people to ask questions directly. If you'd like to do that, they can unmute and ask a question.
Anybody have any further questions?
If you do, unmute, please.
Nobody? Okay.
There.
And that's okay.
Okay.
Hi, Ed.
Hi there. Now I forgot what I was going to ask. No, what I was wondering is that how can I, like, I'll just say what my idea, way I'm headed now. I'm having a hard time of going down the motivational path or going down to how important communication is in leadership.
What do you speak on now that you get paid to do?
Right now, I haven't got a dime, so I'm just now jumping into it, basically, for the payment. But I have given speeches in both levels to, like, the Chamber of Commerce and, you know, on the business end of it, as I call it. And I've also given motivational speeches to high school kids, as well as, get this, the senior centers. Because I'm one of these old fogies. I went back to school after 40 years to get my degree.
Wow.
And it's one of these never give up type deals. And
So,
I've used that same speech both in the high school and the senior.
Yeah. Ed, here's what I'm sensing for you. That you're very passionate about each of those presentations. And I bet that you're very good at each of those presentations. And I also know there's a need for each of those presentations and those audiences that you serve. If you are looking to pursue the accredited speaker designation, my suggestion is find your lane and stay driving in that lane. Focus on the audience or the groups that are going to pay you for that particular subject matter expertise. It might be a couple of years before you're ready to apply.
Right.
Okay. And next session, October 27th, is going to be very valuable for you. And it's highly visual. I'm going to break it down and show you exactly what you need to have. And I think that's going to be very insightful for you as well. So thank you for your question, Ed. Mary, you have a question too.
I do. As far as the professional fees, does it have to be an organization hiring you to give a speech for a 4-figure fee? Or can it be you're giving a presentation that maybe a person has organized and they're getting $50, $25 fees to hear something?
It can be both. If I interpret the second, is that someone else has an event and each person pays to come, like a luncheon, and that you're the speaker at that luncheon, but you need to be paid for your speaking at that luncheon. So, okay, does that make sense?
Yes, but it's more, so if I was, for example, organizing a workshop and I'm the presenter and people were paying to come to the workshop, does that?
Yes. So you can take it's called the admission or the door, that whatever that income from admission, nothing else, you can put that as one line item on your application, as one. So say that, I'm just going to say, you have, do the math here for me though, you have 20 people paying $100 each, that has a comma in it. You could put that number on your application for one of those 25.
Right, but you can do that more than one time. So if you gave,
you can.
Oh, okay.
You can.
You're just saying if, let's say it was a full day presentation or there was multiple presentations in that day, you can't count the door fee for, let's say, the 5 presentations you would give.
That one gets tricky. We might need to have a conversation on it. And you're inspiring another potential question here, Mary, and that is, what about professors and lecturers? Okay, well, similar thing, where you can take, if you can calculate that you, in your salary, that you, and matter of fact, I just had brunch this morning with 2 professors, and this is something that we talk about, and it was in California, one of the curriculum, it's the presentation fee for conducting a classroom, like an adult ed, is anywhere from $85 to $100 an hour. So if you took $100 an hour by an 8-hour day, that's $800. Okay, even though it almost has a comma, you want to get the high threes if you're not hitting the comma, then that speaker could use the $800 on the application for 1 line item. Or the same thing for a college professor, that their salary, that they can calculate how much is their time worth. They have to figure it out. That this is not in the rules, but it may be considered up to 3 line items. The rest of the 15 have to be varied. Again, the judges are looking for diversity, for types of presentations, the length of presentation, what's the pay of the presentation. We're looking for colleagues. We're looking for colleagues.
Thank you, Cheryl.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
Otherwise, Kathy, and thank you everyone for attending. You can stop recording and take a longer break for 6 minutes before the rest of your program continues. Thank you each for attending, and thank you for everything. Please let me know when the video is archived. I know there's going to be a lot of people who are going to tap into the greatness of what you're offering. So thank you very much, and I'll see you all. Thank you.